Have you ever had your Zoom or WebEx freeze during a meeting and you're sitting there frustrated and trying to get the meeting back and hear what's being said? If so, you're not alone. But now I have something that I can recommend that you do at that time. Recently, I gave an interview to Authority magazine, and I gave them my top 5 tips for increasing your emotional intelligence. And so I've been recording short videos on these tips, and this is tip number 3. And tip number 3 is taking the opportunity to do mini resets in your day. If you've ever been in a meeting and started to notice your blood boiling, maybe someone keeps giving the same idea over and over that you've already told them why that won't work. Or maybe someone keeps talking round and round about an issue and you're just like, when will they get to the point? Alternatively, it could be that people's screens keep freezing. Maybe even your screen keeps freezing and you just get so frustrated. I can't hear what the meeting is going on. What's happening? That's a perfect opportunity for a mini reset. What I often recommend to my clients is that they do mini resets before every big meeting that they walk into, whether physically or even just clicking on that computer button. Here is a couple of really easy ways to do a mini reset. One is I learned this, take your hand and trace your hand. So as you go up, do an inhale. As you go down, do an exhale. Up, inhale, down, exhale. That's a good way to get 5 really deep breaths. And it's also very grounding to just sense your own body as you're touching your hand. So that can be something you can do in a particularly frustrating moment in a meeting, and really no one can see what you're doing with your hands or before you go into a meeting at all, just to reset yourself back to baseline. Another breath that I really like is called a 4-7-8 breath. That's when you inhale to a count of 4, hold for a count of 7, and then exhale to a count of 8. What we know in our body is that when you have exhales that are longer than the inhales, that activates your parasympathetic nervous system. And your parasympathetic nervous system is part of your rest nervous system. And so instead of fight or flight and cortisol rising, it's part of the resting and calming you down. So when you notice your blood start to boil, that's the perfect time to take a long exhale in the middle of whatever you're doing. No one even needs to know that's happening. A key part of emotional intelligence is not just reading others, but also reading yourself and knowing and managing your own emotions and your own emotional states. People call that emotional self-regulation too. And I have found that just taking deep breaths occasionally and calming yourself back down multiple times during the day is a great way to stay regulated throughout a whole day of long and sometimes frustrating meetings. I hope you enjoyed this learning snack and see you again here soon.